Autumn fragrances are a season of fragrances that need to come in between the intensity of the light freshness of summertime scents and then the sweetness of winter scents. Autumn fragrances have to be fresh with a sense of warmth in them through certain interesting ingredients that do that. So for me, in this video, we're going to cover 5 main ingredients that have that warmth effect that suit the cozy and snuggle up feeling of the autumn season. Those fragrance notes are amber, tonka bean, honey, coffee, and then finally spices. Let's get into the video. For an autumn fragrance to get a perfect 10 out of 10, it is a strict score that it's not necessarily linked to my personal style. It's what I try to give to fragrances objectively, as objective as you can be with something like fragrances. For me, the scent profile has to smell luxurious. The ingredients have to smell luxurious. The performance needs to be at least 8 hours. Wearability needs to be at least 3 out of 4 seasons to get the maximum value and wearability from the fragrance. And then finally, the price tag has to feel like it's worth it. We have 8 fragrances here today. They're all 10 out of 10s in my opinion, and they all suit the season of autumn perfectly, fitting that criteria we talked about before in the beginning of the video. Let's begin. Penhaligon Sartorial, a clean lavender barbershop DNA. This is the classy side of Penhaligons. It is very traditional, taken into the modern mainstream effect now. So this does that and then makes a twist on the barbershop DNA with interesting notes of honey. It has sort of like fresh pressed iron shirt kind of musks, if you know what I mean. It's very clean and crisp. So it's a clean scent balanced with some sweetness. In my opinion, this is a mid-20s and up perfect professional cold weather scent. So if you want to wear a cold weather office fragrance, Sartorial is perfect. It's so nice for the price, and I think I'm getting about 8 hours longevity with a softer projection. Very classy, dense, and beautiful perfumery here. Zerof's Uden, one of the best from Zerof. This is light, fresh citruses mixed up with some warmth from coffee and rum notes here. Overall, still a bright, fresh fragrance, but those notes really give it a slight autumn edge. A lot of people say this smells similar to Chanel's Allure Homme Edition Blanche. I don't see the similarity that much. I think they have some similarity in the dry down at the end of their fragrances, but I would still say they are not redundant to own both. I own both, and I can say, you know, if you do enjoy wearing Allure Edition Blanche in the summertime, wear it in that season, and then in the autumn, switch over to Uden. Really great, versatile, balanced, and creative perfumery from Zerof, which makes it worth the price in my opinion. I get 8 to 10 hours with a soft to medium projection. A really great signature, versatile signature for the autumn time. Coffee is a great gourmand note for this season, but just bear in mind that it can be a little bit cloying and a little bit difficult to have as an easy to wear fragrance. It's a little bit tricky to wear sometimes. So Uden is an easy to wear coffee fragrance. And that is because it doesn't focus too heavily on it. It's very balanced, as I say. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this video so far and you watch our videos regularly, make sure you consider subscribing. I think our latest statistics show that about 29% of you who view our videos are subscribed, which is a shame because I would love for that number to go to 40%, guys. If you really want to help our channel grow and spread the word about our fragrance channel, then click subscribe. It really helps us to grow as a brand, and I'd really appreciate that, guys. Roja's Burlington 1819. You might say this is primarily a summer scent, but actually I think this can work perfectly in the autumn time. This is orange warmed up with amber and spices and a little bit of a rum here as well, but it's a very complex and very natural perfumery. If you really like the idea of a perfumer going all out with really high amount of naturals, really complex creative perfumery, like they say to themselves, okay, we're gonna not have any budget restrictions here. This is what Roja's done with Burlington 1819. One of the best warmer weather fragrances. So spring, summer, and autumn is the seasons for this fragrance. I think it's worth its £300 price tag. It is very long lasting, 12 hours, complex. It's one of those fragrances that is a little bit more mature, fair enough. It smells like wealth. It is the versatile citrus freshie that smells like wealth. So similar to Uden in that regard, but this smells even more wealthy. But you're getting 12 hours longevity with a medium amount projection. This is just really impressive for a fresh, light citrus fragrance that just keeps bringing you back. It's so complex. It's for those kind of people who really are into the perfumery. They've really experienced a lot of stuff already, and you want like fragrances that just makes you think. It's so clever, and it makes you really inquisitive as to what's in it. You just smell different things each time. So if you want to pick out different notes and really just figure out how a perfumer actually blends, like this just has a lot going on in here, and it's really interesting perfumery that you'll never get bored of. I could honestly have this as one of my 4 life fragrances for the rest of my life. It just never gets boring. Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Mâle, Le Parfum. Although not necessarily a fragrance I would reach for often personally, so it's not my personal style, I think this is a very well done fragrance. It is strong, romantic, traditional, but brought into modern times. It is sexy, and it's just excellent value for money. It smells like a really high-end designer fragrance, even though it's a middle-of-the-range price tag for designers. It is that romantic lavender, cardamom, vanilla fragrance with a very sensual and interesting blend of both iris and animalic notes, but nothing stands out too much. It's a really clever way to introduce these notes to people's noses without, overpowering anyone. I think it's a really cleverly done and cleverly blended fragrance that really is just one of the best releases from the Le Male line recently. If you want the best romantic scent from Le Male, go for Le Parfum. I get 10 hours longevity with a medium amount projection. Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum. I have to emphasize, this is not from the 60s. This is the recent 2017 release. It's modern. Watch how someone's going to comment, oh, Eau Sauvage smells like old man. They think it's the one from the 60s. It's not the Eau de Toilette. The Parfums from 2017 is, again, similar to Sartorial, actually. They both take a soapy barbershop lavender DNA. This is very citrus heavy here, but instead of honey, they warm this up a lot with amber. So it is a very long-lasting, clean amber-based fougere. 12 to 14 hours longevity with medium to loud projection. Perfect for the office again as well. So similar to Sartorial, if you want a perfect, let's say, all-year-round office fragrance that works really well in colder weather, go for Eau Sauvage Parfum. Very versatile, very good value for money, but only use 2 sprays because this stuff is potent, but it's one of the best from Dior and it's really, really underrepresented in the online community, in my opinion. Do you guys agree or disagree? Do you think the Eau Sauvage line in general deserves more love, or at least the Eau Sauvage Parfum? Dior's Ombre Nuit. Another Dior fragrance. It's rose and amber. Very beautifully blended, very soft and mellow and sensual. This is for like so this is a unisex fragrance, but I'd say it's for a man who's very sensitive, a really introverted and an introspective kind of guy. Let's say an author, like one of those skinny guys with curly hair who likes to read books in cafes, likes to write every day. I don't know. So that's probably the kind of person I imagine wearing this. It is very sexy, and I think it kind of fits into the same category as something like YSL's Tuxedo. I don't think you need to own both those fragrances. They're not the same scent profile, but they're a similar vibe. So choose one or the other. But I think Ombre Nuit is just really one of the best rose fragrances out there. It's not particularly masculine, it's not trying to be, it's just trying to be a beautiful scent. This is just that perfect word for it, really beautiful, warm and inviting, and a really interesting signature. I get 8 hours longevity with a soft projection. And third time's the charm, Dior Homme Intense. Again, not my style. I don't reach for Dior Homme Intense personally that often, but I think myself and most people in the community will agree it's a 10 out of 10 fragrance. Actually, got 0 points in our Mr. Romantic public reaction video, which is really sad, but this is a fragrance that's artistic. It's not an easy, safe beginner fragrance. This isn't La Nuit de l'Homme, for example. That's a lot easier to understand. I think that's a great fragrance as well, but this is beautifully done. It still performs, well, my bottle performs anyways. Get 8 to 10 hours with a soft and medium projection. It's a very romantic, warmed out, again, an ambery-like iris that is just super powdery. Some people say that iris in the Dior Homme line gives a sort of a lipstick feel. I can kind of see what I mean. It's like a sort of lipsticky makeup feel from the iris, but I think it's for the kind of man who doesn't get afraid to stand out a little bit, someone who doesn't really care too much if people understand their fragrance. Not everyone's going to understand this, but you're still going to get art in a bottle. You appreciate the perfumery. It makes you smell romantic, charming, and handsome. And really, yeah, if you really like that warm, powderiness from this fragrance, it's perfect for you. And I always say in my videos, there's a lot of, let's say, knockoffs. And they're not necessarily clones, but a lot of fragrances were inspired by this fragrance. And one that I tried recently in the community that everyone kept hyping up was Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir Parfum. I thought it would have some sort of, resemblance of a blue fragrance, but it had nothing to do with that. It ended up being just a very much one of those, again, knockoffs compared to Dior Homme Intense. I was not a fan of it. It just felt redundant when this exists. This does it better, in my opinion. This does it better than a lot of the Gentleman line as well. And I find this better than Uomo Intense as well. I do think Dior Homme Intense is the best original of this kind of style, this evening iris scent. The only other scent that could compete with it was Prada L'Homme Intense. Unfortunately, discontinued, so get it whilst you still can. That's also a great scent. And finally, Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. This is a perfect fragrance for guys who want to wear a sporty, fresh fragrance in the autumn time. I think it's an all year round scent again, that's why it's getting a 10 out of 10. But as I said, this is minty, creamy, musky perfumery here. Very smooth, very cleverly blended. Again, not always to my style, but I still think the blend here is masterful. Chanel doesn't disappoint really, ever, actually. But Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme is extremely smooth, unique perfumery that is warmed out by the tonka. It gives a very creamy lotion-like effect. So if you want like a very creamy, smooth, sporty, fresh scent, this is the fragrance for you. It smells luxurious, but still very easy to wear. I get 8 hours longevity with this bottle with a medium amount projection, a really good signature. And that concludes this video, guys. Do you agree or disagree with my 10 out of 10 ratings for these fragrances? What are your thoughts on the season of autumn/fall for perfumery? Is it your favorite or least favorite season? Let us know your 10 out of 10 autumn fragrances in the comments down below. Make sure to check out our previous videos on 10 out of 10 fragrances. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.